Hello, good afternoon, everyone. And today, with the help of Direct Tax Committee, we are for the appeal session. As we know now, the oral communication is there. We don't have the physical, so face-to-face assessment for we required the representation is very well because on the representation we can fight our case and we in the favor of assessee we can come. So thank you, the Direct Tax Committee Chairperson Piyushji sir and Vice Chairman is here Vishnu Agrawal ji and our speaker CA Ashish Goyal ji. Vishnu Agrawal sir is a everyone knows Central Council member of the ICI for the term of 2025 to 2029 and is currently served as a Vice Chairman of the CP Committee and Direct Tax Committee of ICI. Additionally, he is handling the so many various key skills like Standing Committee, Executive Committee, Management Committee, and Finance Committee of the ICI. Vishnu sir is a very expertise in 2 decades of income tax. He is the author also. He expertises in the search and survey proceeding, Benami and black money proceeding, ITAT proceeding, and income tax litigation. He renowned speaker and author. He has delivered the so many lectures on the direct tax and litigation matter across the various platforms. He has also authored the book of landmark judgment of the income tax, which serves as a valuable reference for the tax professional. His the leadership and contribution we are also seeing from the so many years. He was the chairperson of the WRC for the year 2017 and 18. He is the three consecutive year as a RCM of the WRC, representing the WRC of ICAI before the various government authorities. Even in the last month, he also seen in the front of the income tax department also. He is also actively in the social engagement and community development. That is Agrawal Seva Samiti of the Mumbai Lions Club, RVZ Hostel and Vasai CA Hostel of the Mumbai, Bharat Vikas Parishad, Rajasthani Seva Sansthan, Sri Jeen Mata Prachar Mandal. And as per my personal experience with the sir also that seriously is very active, very helping nature at the branch level. If I facing any problem, immediately I call to Vishnu sir and he is available 24 hours. Thank you, Vishnu sir, and welcome
Thank you,
to
madam.
session.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Respected speaker of today's session, Ashish Goyal ji, the moderator of this particular program, Daya Bansal ji. She is also chairperson of the Vasai branch. Our chairman of the Direct Tax Committee Piyush Chhajed ji in absentia, and very active secretary of this committee, Priya madam, and all the staff, all the office of the Direct Tax Committee. I welcome all of you in this webinar on the how to represent before the CIT appeal in the faceless manner. And I also request to the speaker, Ashish Goyal ji, kindly just also touch the point how to file the CIT appeal in the faceless, because now time has gone that we physically we attend before the CIT appeal, and if the grounds are not appropriate, then immediately we take the additional ground or the ground we revise. But in the faceless, we don't know whether our ground is up to mark or not. So how to roll the grounds and the statement of facts before the CIT appeal is also very important. Friends, under the Direct Tax Committee, our committee is very active, and we are doing day to day, very active and energetic work under the Direct Tax Committee. Friends, before the Selection Committee, we have also represent our new Finance Bill 2025 close by close, and oral representation we have also given before the Selection Committee for the betterment of the profession members. Friends, apart from this, we are also with the revised guidance note of section 44AB, and we are also coming with the checklist for the ITR form 127. Friends, if you have any suggestion in your mind for the Finance Bill 2025, friends, I request each one of you kindly send the mail on the dtc@ici.in. Friends, if you want to become a speaker in this type of the webinar, we doing in every Thursday from 4:30 to 6:30 each and every Thursday we are doing the webinar on the direct tax. Only today we are doing 2 o'clock because of the some other schedule on other committees are also doing the webinar on the 4 to 6. But we under the direct tax committee every Thursday we do the webinar on from 4 to 6 on the direct tax topic. I request each one of you, if you want to become a speaker on this particular webinar, friends, just you mail to on our email ID of the dtc@ici.in. Friends, across the country, we are doing the outreach program to popularize the Finance Bill 2025, and we taking the suggestion from the members and the public that what difficulties arises in the new Finance Bill 2025. Friends, with these words, I thanks to each one of you, and especially our speaker Ashish Goyalji. At his last moment, he accept our invitation for delivering this particular lecture. Friends, it is very art to before presenting before the CIT appeal and the ITAT. Friends, same case. One counselor has won the in the ITAT, and same on the same facts some counselor lose the cases before the ITAT. So it is very art how to win our cases. So today our Isis Koilji will teach to us that how to present before the CIT appeal. With these words, I thanks to each one of you and our office and Ashish Goyalji and Daya Madam to accept our invitation. Thank you, friends.
Thank you, sir. And we noted your speech also. So we also forward for the speaker all this. Will request to all the members from the Vasai branch also. And today's speaker Ashish Goyal sir with us. As we know, Ashish Goyal sir is a chartered accountant and advocate also. He is expertise in the litigation before the High Court and Tribunal. He is in the corporate and non-corporate level since more than 20 years. He is doing the handling the cases. He's cleared the CA in 2005 at the age of 22. In 2005, he cleared the DISA. In 2007, he cleared the law and become the advocate also. He successfully represented more than 5,000 clients in income tax, VAT, excise, service tax, GST, company law, money laundering matters. He is a chief editor of the biggest law journal of the Central India Regional, reporting the latest decision of the Supreme Court, High Court, and Tribunal relating to the direct taxation. He is the visiting faculty of the reputed management law, and for the last 16 years, monitoring the student of the subject in those students on the subject of the income tax. He is representing the papers in seminars quite frequently, and radio talk has contributing the various topics relating to taxation. By his profile, we came to know that he is the expert person in front all of us. So it's a great opportunity by the Direct Tax Committee that we have Ashish Goyal sir with us. And currently he is Secretary of Tax Bar at Tribunal of Indore. Welcome Ashish sir on behalf of the Direct Tax Committee of the ICEI. I welcome you.
Thank you. Shall I start?
Yes.
Yes. A very good afternoon to all of you. In fact, I am honored and thankful to the Direct Tax Committee and CA Piyush Chhajed, the chairman of although in his absentia, CA Vishnu Agrawal ji, the vice chairman, Direct Tax Committee, CA Daya Bansal ji for putting my profile in a very positive way and making me know what I am not actually. So I am thankful to all. And as a matter of fact, I am thankful to each and every one of you for attending this webinar on a very important topic, which I understand, the subject of commissioner appeals. Because see, what happens is once we start our practice in the initial stages, we file the return, and gradually the cases of assessments and appeals come up. So this is a very important subject matter. As a professional, for the, you can say, for the most technical, one of the most technical part of the tax profession is the appellate work. To start with it, I may just say that what is an appeal? The word appeal is very important. The word appeal, in fact, is not defined in the Income Tax Act. This word the courts have interpreted it time and again. And one of the very popular definitions which comes out of appeal is that appeal is a review. An appeal is a review. As Vishnu sir said, that whatever you represent before the AO, that is going to appeal. So basically, appeal is a review. Whatever you said it to the AO, if he has not accepted it, then you have to file an appeal. And the appellate authority will do nothing afresh, because whatever was there before the AO, that is only coming up in the appeal. So appeal is a review, but this review is by a higher authority who has a higher wisdom, who has a higher understanding, and he sees your case and then gives a judgment. So that is the beauty of the concept of appeal. Now, some of the judgments, they have gone forward and said that appeal has to be an independent function. The officer who saw it was an officer of Income Tax Department, the AO. Generally, courts are always called as a tribunal. Whenever you go for justice, the courts are called as a tribunal. There are three parties in the court: the person who has filed a case, the person against whom the case is filed, and the judge. So there are tri-parties, a tribunal. Income tax proceedings, or for that matter, any tax proceedings, are different in their sense, because there are only bi-party proceedings. Like if you go to the AO, the assessee is there and the AO is there. So AO is representing, he is sitting in dual capacity. He is representing the Income Tax Department also, and he is doing the job of judge also. So he is one of the party as well as a judge. So that is a dual role which is there. So he is a biased person. The courts have said that appeal is an independent function, and it should be done by somebody who is independent. There is a saying that no one can be a judge in his own case. So as an appellate authority, he has to be independent. The appellate authority has to be independent. But unfortunately, in income tax, the first appeal is to be done by Commissioner Appeals, who is in fact a part of the Income Tax Department itself. So again, that issue comes up, that he is a judge in his own case. As an appellate authority, he is sitting both as Income Tax Department as well as a judge. So he is sitting in dual capacity, and therefore income tax appeals or such appeals are special in their own sense. It is more difficult to get a favorable judgment there, because when he is sitting there, his mindset is that you have done something wrong, and he is sitting it and thinking it as from the angle of Income Tax Department. So when you will go and try to explain him that the assessing officer has done something wrong, so his mindset would be of that of the department. He is naturally having a bias, and for that reason, it's very difficult to get judgments at CIT appeal in your favor. But yes, a lot of people appear, and we see practically that a lot of favorable judgments come up at the appellate stage, both in the faceless scheme as well as earlier. Over the decades and scores, we have seen that a lot of favorable judgments have come up. Now, going forward, the provisions of appeal are given in section 246A to section 251 of the Income Tax Act. I am talking about the first appeal, the commissioner appeals. The provisions are given from 246A to 251. And there are also some rules, rule 45, 46 and 46A are the principal rules which deal with the appeals. Very important rule is rule 46A, which I will be talking about. Then we all know that against the order of CIT appeal, if any person is aggrieved, he is dissatisfied, he can file further appeal. So it's not that CIT appeal is the last appeal. Against CIT appeal, you can go to ITAT, the assessee and Income Tax Department both. Then also there is High Court. Against ITAT, there is High Court, and the Supreme Court is there. So there are 3 more appeals, further appeals against the order of CIT appeal. It's just the first appeal. The CIT appeal is just the first appeal. Now, some important things just to show you that how complicated, how you can say how long drawn the battle of income tax can go. So one RTI was filed in March 2025, and they questioned that how many appeals are pending and how much are faceless, how much are otherwise, and all this data was asked in an RTI. So the data which has come out is that there are in all 5,40,000 and odd appeals pending in income tax. Income tax related, these many appeals are pending, of which 3,66,708 are faceless, and rest are other than faceless. As of now, there is a misconception. Some people think that now there is only faceless scheme. I'll clarify it at the outset only that appeal mechanism now is of 2 types. One is a faceless mechanism, and where there is no interaction between the assessee and the officer. It's just on the portal, the notices come, you reply, and you may also be given a virtual hearing. That is a faceless mechanism. The second mechanism is a physical, old orthodox mechanism where you take the file, go to the income tax office, go to the chamber, the office of the Commissioner Appeals, and represent your case physically. The physical cases are there only in 2 type of cases. One is central circle cases. If it is a central circle case that is related to search, survey, etc. So those cases would go to central circle, and the appeals still are conducted physically. And the second is international taxation cases. So if it is a foreign company, non-resident, or to say transfer pricing is involved, so then those cases would be taken up in a physical manner, and because there is a separate ward, international taxation ward, so that would go to a separate procedure. The first appeal would be physical. So a lot of appeals physically are also there. That data you can see, and 3,66,000 are faceless appeal. It was also asked how many are new appeals. So new filings were 89,328 in the year 24-25 faceless appeals, and approximately the same number, 85,000 and odd, were disposed of. So a marginal increase in the total number of appeals took place in this year. I may also point out that this year there were also Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. So a lot of cases were disposed of. Some at least were disposed of for this reason, right? And so far as the central circle cases are there were 91,000 filings. So a lot of raids and search seizure are there. So 91,924 fresh appeals were filed through in respect of the search, etc. cases physically, which had to be done. In fact, we have seen over the last 4 or 5 years that there is a lethargy, I can say, that in the disposal of appeals. After the faceless scheme has come, you file the appeal, you file the submissions, you do everything, but the orders are not coming. And for years it is pending, for 4 years, 6 years, 8 years also. Some old appeals are pending, 10 years also the old appeals are pending, and they are not deciding. The department was lethargic, and in fact the reason also was that there was a reorganization in department. The old files could not be migrated to faceless, so it took time. Then there was also joint commissioner appeals which was formed, so another migration was to take place. So multiple reasons are there, and for that reason a lot of appeals are still pending, and a lot of disposals are not done. Cases are not disposed of. So the All India Federation for Tax Practitioners recently again wrote a letter to the Honorable Finance Minister requesting that further actions be taken so that the appeals may be disposed of in a quicker manner and people get justice at the earliest possible time. Now, so far as my session is concerned, I will just discuss my entire session in these bullet points, in these 7 steps, I will say. Whenever there is an assessment or there is any order, at the first thing one has to see is that whether it is a fit case for filing an appeal or revision or not. That is, you read the order, you understand, and yes, if you are aggrieved, whether you are aggrieved or not, that is the first thing one has to see. If it is there, then go to step 2, that to whom the appeal is to be filed, because appeal can be filed only to a prescribed authority which is given in the act. I may quote a very important phrase which is always said in the appellate mechanism, that appeal is not a birthright. It is not a born right. Janma siddha adhikar nahi hai. Appeal is a statutory right. If the right of appeal is given in the law, then only the appeal can be filed. So you have to, step 2, you have to see that whether appeal can be filed to CIT appeal, whether this order is appealable to CIT appeal, or whether it is appealable to ITAT. So that is the step 2, whether it is appealable. Then if it is appealable, step 3 comes up, you file the appeal. I'll discuss that. I was just asked by Agrawal Saab that I should discuss how to file the appeal, the process of filing the appeal. I'll be discussing that. Then step 4 is hearing of the appeal, how it is conducted. Step 5 is there is a concept of remand. I'll explain that concept. So step 5. Step 6 is after hearing is done, then finally the appellate order may come up. That is step 6. And step 7 is after that appellate order, whether further anything is required to be done. That also I'll discuss. So these are the, you can say, broader points on which I'll be addressing my session. Now, at the first instance, whenever an order comes up, it is always a basic thing that you read that entire order. You go through that entire order, read it, see what errors are there in fact and what are there in law. There are 3 types of errors which can be there. The error of fact. Error of fact can be like कि जैसे मैंने बैंक अकाउंट में मेरे पैसा जमा ही नहीं हुआ, या this bank account does not belong to me, and he has stated that this account belongs to you, right? So this is an error of fact, that this fact does not exist, right? This account does not belong to me, but he has written that this is your account. Then error of law can be there. The law is given in the act, rules, case laws. So all these type of law which is there, that is the statute as well as the judgment based law. If they have been wrongly applied, incorrectly applied, so that can be an error of law. Then the third is error of procedure, right? Procedural error, that say natural justice was not complied, any evidence was used against you, and a copy of that was not given to you. So that is audi alteram partem, right? So audi alteram partem means that if anything is used against you, then an opportunity should be given to you so that you may examine it. So whether natural justice was complied or not, whether you were given an opportunity, whether that copy of the evidence were given to you or not. So this is the next of the thing, that is the natural justice. That is the next thing. Then once you see, read the order, read it patiently, take a copy, print it, mark it, and see what errors are there. Then after reading that order, after reading that intimation, then you see what is the course of action you can take. Now, either you can go for a rectification also. If it is an apparent mistake on record, then you, instead of filing appeal, you may decide that let us have a 154 application, a rectification application, or you can plan to go for an appeal, right? If it is not an apparent error, then you can go for an appeal. Then in some cases, it may happen that there is some small addition. Earlier in the income tax, when there were physical assessment, तो इट वाज वेरी रेगुलर प्रैक्टिस। वहां आप गए इनकम टैक्स, और इनकम टैक्स में आपके जाने के बाद ऑफिसर सॉ योर एंटायर केस एंड ही सेड कि सर कुछ तो मैं जोड़ूंगा, मतलब आप ऐसे आए हो तो कुछ तो आपको यहाँ देकर ही जाना पड़ेगा, टैक्स कुछ तो भरना ही पड़ेगा। सो ही वाज लाइक कि कुछ तो मैं एडिशन करूंगा, छोटा सा 10,000 1 लाख कुछ भी एडिशन में डिपेंडिंग ऑन द केस कर दूंगा। तो अगर इफ यू फील दैट it's a small tax effect, it's better to pay the taxes than instead of unnecessarily going in appeal, then it's your call. You can pay the taxes, right, and not file an appeal, because appeals also involve a cost. You have to pay the fees of the chartered accountant, as well as some appeal fees is there, so that has to be paid. But when there is a small tax effect, you should all consider that if it is a recurring thing, like if that addition would reoccur every year, that addition may come up. Say he says that 30% of the expenses I don't accept, then every year he can say that 30% are not acceptable for some reason. So you should think that although it is small, but if it has a recurring effect, it would arise every year, then you may prefer to go for an appeal. Then there may be other risk, like although it is a small amount, but there is an allegation that you have done wrong, you have misreported your income, underreported your income, then there may be a risk of penalty, and prosecution also may be there. So for that reason, you may think that although amount is small, but let us go in appeal. We may pay the taxes, but unnecessarily we may have to face the music, and penalty prosecution may come up. So, depending on your understanding of the order, reading of the order, and the approach of the client, because your client would say that, okay, let us pay the taxes, or he may say that let us fight it. Although you may have a fair chances, he may say, ये भी छोटा amount है, let us pay the taxes. Or the risk of penalty, etc., is there. You explained it to the client, and he wants to go for an appeal. Now, there is one concept of agreed addition. One statement is there that any person who is aggrieved by the order, he can file an appeal. Aggrieved means you are dissatisfied. So if you are aggrieved by the order, then you can file an appeal. But what happens is sometimes that you agree to the addition. You say that, okay, it is okay. In the during the assessment, they pointed out something, and you realize that yes, it was your mistake, and either you realized, or at that time your CA or advocate advised it that, okay, you better is that you pay the taxes on it, and you accepted to it. You confessed that, okay, or agreed to the addition. Now, after the order is passed, some other CA comes up and he says that no, this addition is wrong, and you should not have accepted it. Now you agreed to the addition. Are you aggrieved? Can you file an appeal? That is my question. You accepted the addition. Are you aggrieved? Can you file an appeal? That is the question. So there are a lot of cases, and these cases, if I summarize, they say that if you are aggrieved, if you agreed to facts, if you said that this bank account belonged to me, you agreed to that fact. So in general, you cannot file an appeal. If you agreed on facts, then you are not aggrieved. You accepted that fact. But if you prove that fact to be totally wrong, then okay, then you can file the appeal. Or you say it was a coercion, forcefully the officer pressed and I had to agree. It's a very difficult situation, but yes, if you prove that it was under some coercion or some wrong understanding, there are two bank accounts, and I have one account with that bank, but this was not my account, wrongly I misinterpreted it. So somewhere, if you prove that your understanding of facts was a mistake, a mistaken understanding was there, then in such a case you can file an appeal, right? If you are aggrieved on facts, generally you cannot file an appeal. But if you have some wrongly and mistakenly agreed to the facts, then you can file an appeal. And if you have agreed on law, there cannot be an estoppel against law. That is a very important saying, and a lot of judgments are there on that. MRP form is one very old and very important judgment, that there is no estoppel against law, right? You cannot say that I agreed to law. Law कुछ और कहता है और मैंने कुछ गलत एग्री कर दिया, तो मेरे एग्री करने से लॉ थोड़ी चेंज हो जाएगा. So that is the principle which is there. There is no estoppel against the law. So if I agreed on law, it doesn't matter. You can definitely file an appeal. Even if you have agreed, you can file an appeal. Then before filing the appeal, one should also remember that don't file the appeal casually, that yes, some order has come, let us go in appeal. Because if you file an appeal, then you cannot withdraw that appeal, right? You don't have a right to withdraw. If you want to withdraw it later, if you think I want to withdraw it, then what will happen is that you have to seek the permission of the appellate authority. So you will have to file an application, and the appellate authority may say, okay, you may withdraw it, or he may deny it also. So with the permission of the appellate authority, only you would be able to withdraw the appeal. So that is important thing. So be careful before filing the appeal, and more so because the appellate authority, which we are talking about, CIT appeal, he has a power of enhancement also. So ठीक है, गए थे कि हमारी साहब ये बकरी जो है इसके डिस्प्यूट के लिए गए थे, और वहां पे अपन ने अपनी गाय भी खो दी. That is the saying, right? We went to the court for a sheep and we lost, in fact, the cow also. तो ऐसा ना हो जाए, इसलिए अपील बहुत सोच समझ के फाइल करना, क्योंकि उनको एनहांसमेंट का भी पावर है. Now, once you read the order and you realize that yes, this order is appealable, then what? Then the second thing comes up is you have to see that whether the appeal lies to the CIT appeal. As I said, that appeal is not a birthright. It is not a born right. It is a statutory right. So you cannot, like every order is not appealable to CIT appeal. So there is a list, section 246A. That section gives a long list under subsection 1. You have to see whether the order you want to challenge, you want to impugn, challenge, impugn. So whether the order you want to impugn is an appealable order. That is what you have to see. Now, there is a list of orders which are appealable, and obviously the routine orders like 143.3 assessment, or even a 154 order, or 147 reassessment order, or even a search assessment like 153A, which was there earlier, now 158 BC, which is the block assessment. All these orders are appealable. Basically, you can say all the orders passed by AO are appealable to CIT appeal, because the appellate authority is a higher authority, which is the CIT appeal. So all the orders are mainly appealable to CIT appeals passed by AO. Some important things one should be concerned of is like 143.1 intimation. 143.1 intimation is also appealable. I have seen a lot of times people, what they do is 143.1 comes and they file 154. Yes, you can file 154. You can go for a rectification. But alternatively, you can also file an appeal. Both the windows are there. And I will tell you, both can be done together. That means you can file an appeal as well as you can go for a 154. So 143.1 is appealable. That some people miss out sometimes. Similarly, any TDS, TCS intimation is there. So under 200A, you get some intimation. That is also appealable to CIT appeal. One order is 234E. That was a point of dispute some years back, because initially 234E order was not made appealable. But later on, they amended it, and 234E order is appealable to CIT appeal. Then any order for non-grant of refund. If you have applied for a refund under section 237 and they have not given a refund, then that is also appealable to CIT appeal. One very interesting thing is there, an order passed under section 271FA. I'll tell you what happens. Section 271FA gives a penalty for not filing a statement of financial transaction, SFT, AIR. So if you have not filed an SFT in time, then in such a case, a penalty under 271FA lies. Interestingly, this penalty is levied by the Chief Commissioner of Income Tax. Now, appeal will be heard by Commissioner who is junior to the Chief Commissioner. Now, the question comes up, this is a very interesting scenario. Under Section 246A, it is stated that all the penalty orders are appealable to CIT appeal. So 271FA is also appealable to CIT appeal. Now, I said appeal is a review by higher authority. Now, CCIT has passed an order, and who will review that? His junior, CIT. So that is something weird in this proposition. But yes, it is given in the law. And there are contrary judgments. Some judgments have said that no, you file an appeal to ITAT. And some judgments have said that appeal lies to CIT appeal. And CIT appeal can review the order of CCIT. Appeal is a statutory right. So whatever is given in the statute has to be followed. So contrary judgments are there. But if such an order comes up to 271FA, it is going to be an interesting scenario, that is for sure. Then I may tell you that certain orders are not appealable to CIT appeal, because it is an obvious thing that those orders are passed by Commissioner of Income Tax. Like an order under Section 12AA, 12AB, 80G, 263. Now, these are all orders like for charitable trust or for 80G. They are passed by the Commissioner of Income Tax. Now, Commissioner passed those orders, and against that appeal, in the Act itself, it is provided to the ITAT. The first appeal lies to the ITAT. And also, some orders are not made appealable anywhere. That also one needs to remember, like an order under Section 264, revision in the favor of assessee. Now, you applied for a revision under Section 264 and he dismissed it. In such a case, you want to file an appeal. Now, there is no appeal. So, the only remedy you would be left out practically would be filing a writ petition to the High Court. Similarly, is an order for 119. Many people apply for condonation of delay or for some sort of relief under 119 2B, that some instruction may be issued by CCIT or basically CBDT, and then the power is delegated to CIT. So for refund or for some reason, people apply under Section 119. Now, if any order is passed under 119, it is not appealable. So the only remedy would be again to file a writ petition under Article 226 of the Constitution. Now, the next thing which comes up is filing an appeal. So once you have seen that the order is appealable and the appeal lies to CIT appeal, then the next step would be to file the appeal. Now, for filing the appeal, these 5 things one has to consider. Very briefly, I'll address it. I'll show you the form in my discussion. And these are the broadly 5 things which are there. One is the form. So there is a prescribed form, form number 35, that is prescribed for filing the appeal to CIT appeal. Now I'll just go to that form. The form somewhere looks like this. This would show only once you file the appeal, in fact, because while filing the appeal, what would happen is you will log in into the portal. You have to do e-filing. You will have to log in into the portal, and in the portal, it would have, you will go to the e-filing portion, file other forms. There in the other forms, you will just select form 35. And in form 35, once you start filling, there will be different parts of the form, and all those parts of the form, some are pre-filled, some you have to fill, and that is how the form will be filled. So it will not show one shot on a screen, it will be in parts, but once you file it, this is how it will be shown, right? On you can download it and print it. So this is the form which will be there, and it will have a lot of basic details, the order which you are challenging, the details of any other pending appeals, or regarding this appeal, what is the addition, what is the tax, how much you are disputing, and details of taxes paid, because there is a requirement, I'll explain it, that this amount of tax should be paid before filing the appeal, and statement of facts and grounds of appeal, which is a very important portion of the appeal, where the drafting skill comes up, that you draft the facts and the grounds of appeal, and then some tax challan has to be paid, filing fees has to be paid, that is there. And there is a form of verification that I declare that all the particulars are true and correct. So that details the assessee has to sign it, right? Who will sign the appeal is the assessee. It is not the CA who will sign it. It is the assessee only who has to sign this appeal. So there is a form I have shown you. Statement of facts is a part of that form. Now these facts have to be drafted very precisely. What happens is, like, once an appeal comes to you, there may be two type of client. One is a client which is your own client. You filed the return and you appeared into the assessment, so you know the facts of the case. But there may be a referral case where the client comes to you through a CA or through some consultant, or the client comes to you directly, and in those cases the facts sometimes may not be very precise. While filing the appeal, at this stage, at this moment when you are filing the appeal, because there is a pressure, there is a time limit for filing the appeal, so at that point of time, you should draft the facts in more a broader sense. That is my personal recommendation. Not confessing, not admitting anything. You should write that I filed the return on this date, the case was selected for scrutiny, and the order was passed, and this addition was made, against which I am in appeal before your honors. Something like this. And the grounds of appeal, have to be precise, right? The grounds of appeal have to cover all the issues involved: factual, legal, as well as procedural. Right? Factual errors, legal errors, and procedural errors. That is what I said. So your grounds have to cover all the issues. They have to be precise. It's not an argument. Many people confuse grounds of appeal with arguments. While filing the appeal, you are not putting the arguments. Arguments would be put up with a separate document, which is called as a written submission. It is just the grounds of appeal. So what I tried is, I just tried to get the grounds of appeal from one of my cases, that how we drafted the grounds. The grounds, this column which is there, serial number is there, relevant section, issue in brief, one word or phrase, and a ground of appeal. So see how I have drafted it. The first ground is on validity. Our contention was that the assessment itself is bad, it is illegal, it is void. So we started it with that on the facts and circumstances of the case. The learned AO erred in passing an order which is invalid, void ab initio, barred by limitation, non-est, without affording opportunity of being heard, and contrary to facts and law. So here in this ground, we tried to take up all the possible combinations, and also taking natural justice, that he did not give us a fair and reasonable opportunity. The second ground, if you will see, disallowance of expenses. Now, in this case, some expenses might have been disallowed. So we have taken that on the facts and circumstances of the case, the learned AO erred in making an addition of rupees 1 crore 98 lakhs and odd on account of disallowance of expenses. No argument. We are not showing that this was the expenditure, and this expenditure it was allowable. AO has not done anything. He did not do any inquiry. He has not given any proof that these are not allowable. So nothing is written. These are our arguments. The grounds is a one-line thing, that yes, this expenses is disallowed, which ought not to be disallowed. Similarly, you will see the next ground, commission income was added something. So making the addition of this much as commission income. Then while filing the appeal, as a practice over the years, we have been always taking a ground that in the order he has initiated the penalty. So we have written that on the facts and in circumstances of the case, the learned have erred in initiating penalty. So all the penalties he might have initiated, like here, it's an old case. So 271 1C was a penalty for concealment and inaccurate particulars. So that has been initiated, right? Right now, it can be a 270A, or it can be for non-appearance 272A1D. So any penalty which is initiated in this order, we would always point it out, right? Because we would challenge that he is wrong in initiating the penalty. And then one more ground is in appeal, we always take a leave. We take a liberty that we are raising these grounds, but later on, if we come across any other ground, we have the liberty to raise that ground also. So that is the last fifth point you will see. The appellant carves leave to add, amend, or modify the grounds of appeal. So we are just requesting, praying that if any ground is there which we miss right now, we can take it later on also. That is what is there, right? So this is the proposition, right? So just I have tried to give you a demonstration as to how the grounds are drafted. The grounds have to be drafted in each case in its own manner, right? Then while filing the appeal, you have to file the form number 35. I have shown you how it is there. Statement of facts, I have demonstrated that it has to be precise. There is a word limit also, in fact, in the statement of facts, that is 1000 words. So while you are filing the appeal, you have to write that statement of facts in 1000 words. If you think that you have to write it in more words, what you should do is that in that column, you should write the statement of facts is attached. And there is a place where you can attach the documents. So there you can attach the statement of facts. In my opinion, 1000 words are quite sufficient, because at this juncture, the broader facts have to be mentioned. Okay, PDF may be uploaded, as I said, if you want to write it more elaborately. Facts should be clear and precisely written. Try not to commit anything. Don't say that, yes, it was the mistake. It was my mistake. In legal profession, one should not commit. That is, with my experience, I am saying that one should not commit. One should not say, I agree to it. It is my mistake. Wrongly, we have done it. Fraudulently, we have done it. Our consultant did it wrong. It's not advisable. At this stage, you can simply put it that, yes, this is there and we are challenging it. While arguing, if you say, yes, there is nothing else, so you can agree to it at a later stage. Then if opportunity was not given in the statement of facts also, you can narrate it that without giving any opportunity, he made the addition against which we are in appeal to CIT appeal. Then while filing the appeal, you also have to give the copy of the notice of demand. You must be aware that when an order is received, say an assessment order. So in the assessment order, physically, if it was received some years back, so it had 4 things. One was the assessment order, a detailed order. Another was a computation sheet where the income tax was recomputed by the AO. Third was a demand notice where he said that you pay it within 30 days. The demand, now the demand which is there, the tax which is there, you have to pay it within 30 days. Section 156, a demand notice used to come. And the fourth was a penalty notice. Whatever penalties he has initiated, for which notice was coming. When online, if you see, now 3 things are there in the, if you click on the assessment order, if you go to e-proceedings and click on the assessment order, you will see these 3 things: assessment order, computation form, and the demand notice. A penalty, a separate proceedings is initiated for penalty. So a penalty notice is also coming separately. So with the form 35, you have to attach notice of demand, the impugned order, assessment order. And if it is a penalty case, then you have to attach not only the penalty order, but the assessment order also. So 2 orders, penalty and assessment order, will be attached. and notice of demand in a penalty case. Otherwise, notice of demand and assessment order has to be attached. Now the form is form 35. In fact, every 3-4 years they keep changing that form. Recently, 2024, they came out with a new form because 2023 till the year 2023, the appeals were heard by commissioner rank of officer, commissioner appeals. But a lot of pending appeals were there. So they also created joint commissioner appeals. So 2024, they revised the form and now we have commissioner appeals as well as joint commissioner appeals hearing the appeals. So a new form is there. Some more columns were changed at that time. The form which I showed you was a new form, the latest form. Appeal to be filed, mandatory for cases where e-return to be filed. See, as I said, appeal is to be filed electronically if filing is there. E-filing is compulsory for those cases where e-return is compulsory. So in the last 7-8 years, I have never seen any appeal filed physically. So all appeals practically are filed electronically because e-filing of return itself is compulsory almost in every case. Statement of facts I have narrated. Grounds of appeal I have demonstrated. There is a word limit per ground, 100 words. And therefore, I say the grounds need not be elaborate. Their expectation is ground is a one phrase, one line. In one line, you say that what is the issue you are challenging. That is it. Your arguments is a separate thing. A written submission is there, which is to be filed at a later stage. Section in which addition is made, it is a separate column. Okay, grounds have to be precise, concise, and apt. It should cover everything. ना कंसाइज होने का मतलब ये नहीं कि कुछ गायब ही हो जाए, वो छूट ही जाए, ये बाद में बड़ा मुश्किल आएगा. तो it has to be precise as well as apt. All the alternate pleas have to be taken. Like if you say, take an example. Say there is a deposit in your bank, in a bank account. There is a deposit in some bank account. And you say that it is not my bank account. But the assessing officer said that it may be a Benami account. And he added all the amounts deposited therein as your unaccounted income. Very commonly it happens. Now what happened is you want to file an appeal to Commissioner Appeals. Now you are thinking that this account is mine or not. I don't want to agree. I don't want to commit. But say if it is my account, then in that case, the entire deposits cannot be added because deposits may be my turnover. Out of that, expenses are also there. So the profit element only can be added. So you took a ground that on the facts and circumstances of the case, the learned AO erred in making addition of this much on account of deposits in bank, which does not belong to me. Then you took another ground and you have to write without prejudice. Even if the deposits are considered as my deposits, only the profit element therein can be added. So that is an alternate ground. Then there can be further without prejudice, that the profit element or without prejudice, either the peak can only be added, peak figure of it can only be added. So you have to always think, and as I said, it's a drafting skill. With experience, people learn about it. So you have to try and take up grounds and all the alternate grounds so that someday he does not say, the commissioner appeal does not say कि इसका तो आपने ground ही नहीं लिया है, आप कैसे argue कर रहे हो. It should not be like that. So you should try to take all the alternate pleas as separate grounds. Don't miss any ground of appeal because otherwise they will not decide it. It is a golden rule that appellate authority decides only those things which are in grounds of appeal. So take everything in grounds of appeal, precisely, concisely, covering all the issues, right? Who can file an appeal? Now, this is a very basic question. Generally, assessee himself will file an appeal. The first appeal is filed by assessee. Income tax officer cannot file an appeal, unlike GST section 107. Here in income tax, the first appeal is filed by assessee only. So assessee can file an appeal who is aggrieved, and even a third person can also file an appeal. Like if the assessee has died, then his legal heir can file the appeal, or his representative assessee, like if he's a non-resident, his agent can file an appeal. Or if the assessee is a company in liquidation, then the IP can file the appeal, liquidator can file the appeal. So likewise, right? If that liquidator is there, you should check that whether that person is the liquidator or not. Or if it is a case like a non-resident's agent, you have to check whether he is authorized or not. You have to check the power of attorney, whether he is having the authority to file it or not. Appeal against agreed addition, I have already explained that if you are agreed to the addition, then in such a case, you are generally not aggrieved, right? That is the point which is there. Now, who signs the appeal? It is the golden rule that any person who can sign the return, he has the authority to sign the appeal, right? So whosoever can sign the return, there is section 140, which precisely addresses this issue, that who can sign the return. So those persons can sign the appeal. Can a CA or advocate sign? No, CA and advocate cannot sign. It is the assessee who has to sign it. But yes, they can authorize the CA. They can say that I authorize him to file the appeal. There has to be a specific power of attorney, and on that basis he can sign it, right? As a practice, it is better that the assessee signs the appeal, right? If there is a defect in signature, that I've had to sign it, but instead of me, my wife signed it, then such a defect is not curable. The appeal is invalid. A check signed by a wrong person, whether it is valid? No, it is not valid. You go to bank and say कि साहब ये चेक है, गलत आदमी ने साइन किया, कोई बात नहीं, तो उस क्योरेबल नहीं है, वो इनवैलिड ही है. तो वैसे ही अगर हमने अपील गलत व्यक्ति ने साइन कर दिया, तो इट इज इनवैलिड, एज इफ नो अपील इज फाइल्ड. Generally, when there is a defect in appeal, they give you opportunity to rectify it. They may say that you have not attached this document, please attach it. But if there is a defect in signature, then in such a case, the appeal itself is invalid. Then for filing the appeal, there is a challan to be paid, a fees is prescribed. Section 249 is the relevant section. And in that section, subsection 1, it is mentioned that a nominal fees is there. I will quickly address it. If the assessed, in case of assessment, if the assessed income is up to 1 lakh, some 250 rupees fees is there. 1 lakh to 2 lakh is the assessed income. Then fees is 500. More than 2 lakhs is the assessed income. The fees is 1000. Other than assessment cases, the fees is 250 rupees. So other than assessment like penalty, etc. cases, 250 rupees is the fees. If there is a shortfall in the fees, you have paid less, it will be a defect. They will say you that kindly pay the balance fees. Then challan, which is to be paid, it is to be paid under the head 500. Under the category of others, it has to be paid under the head 500. Earlier, it was under the head 400. It has been changed now. Then if the assessed income is loss, you filed a return with say 10 lakhs rupees loss. They said the loss of 8 lakhs is wrong. So still there is a loss of 2 lakhs. Now, how much fees we have to pay? So if the assessed income is a loss, then you have to pay the minimum fees because it is below 1 lakh. Right? Negative figure is below 1 lakh. So 250 rupees is to be paid. Now, what is the time limit for filing the appeal? The time limit for filing the appeal is 30 days from the date of service of order or the demand notice. So whenever you get the demand notice, within 30 days of that, you have to file the appeal. But there is also a concept of condonation of delay, and the CIT appeal may condone the delay if there is a sufficient cause, right? And there is no time limit, unlike again GST that 1 month can only be condoned. So there is no time limit, even 1 year, 10 years, any number of time can be condoned. One very landmark judgment I may just quote you. It is a celebrated judgment, always quoted whenever there is an application for condonation of delay, a case for condonation of delay. That is collector land acquisition versus MST Katiji, 167 ITR 471. Now here they have discussed the entire law and they have made some points. They have said that ordinarily a litigant does not stand benefited by filing the appeal belatedly. Who is benefited by filing the appeal belatedly? He is at loss. Refusing to condone delay in meritorious matter being thrown out at the very threshold and cause of justice being defeated. So generally the courts are there to decide the cases on merits, and they should not just throw them for the ground of limitation generally. So they have said that meritorious matters should not be thrown away on that ground. Then a short delay is different from a long delay. If there is a short delay, then it's okay, but longer the delay, it shows an approach of the assessee that he was not vigilant. Every day's delay must be explained does not mean a pedantic approach should be made, and every day does not mean that every hour, every minute, every second delay should be explained. Every day's delay means that yes, overall you have to explain it that during that period what you were doing. When substantial justice and technical consideration are pitted against each other, the cause of substantial justice deserves to be preferred, for the other side cannot claim to have vested right in injustice because of a delay only. There is no presumption that the delay is occasioned deliberately or on account of culpable negligence or on account of any malafide. A litigant does not stand to be benefited by resorting to delay. It must be grasped that the judiciary is represented not account of power to legalize injustice on technical grounds. This is very important. Why there is a judiciary? To do justice. So on technical grounds, if they will throw away the case, then they are legalizing the justice, legalizing the injustice. So that is the other aspect which is there. Then some quick points, like one of the cases, this Madras High Court, where wrong advice was given to the appellant. So court said the delay may be condoned. Then there were some conflicting legal advices. Assessee acted on one of the advice. Court said it's okay, delay may be condoned. There was a sufficient cause. Challenge before the wrong forum. Instead of CIT appeal, say we went for a rectification or we went for, say, tribunal wrongly. So court said yes, it's a reasonable cause, sufficient cause. Even in the Limitation Act, it is given that this is a sufficient cause. In one of these cases, Nilesh Ajmera, in fact, I appeared in this case. There was a delay of 1800 days. But the assessee was in fact absconding or missing at that time. And some part of it, he was in jail. So when he was in jail, how he could have filed the appeal? Or he was missing, some police were before him. So he missed to file the appeal. Court said, yes, it's a sufficient cause for delay in filing the income tax appeal.
So sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, please.
I want to ask for all the participants, is the screen is visible? Please show the thumb so we can start, because we are receiving from the so many participants that the screen is not visible. Yes, sir. Now go ahead.
Yes. Now, in fact, there is also a concept of upfront fees. What happens is, section 249 is the section. It says that if you have filed a return, then in such a case, the appeal can only be filed if you have paid the tax on the returned income. Interestingly, what would happen is, if you have filed a return, at the time of filing the return, you would have paid the taxes already. But this point is there. Earlier, it used to happen that people may file the return, but they don't pay the taxes, right? So as of now, if you have filed a return, whether you have paid the tax on the returned income. In the form 35 also, you have to punch that data, that how much is that tax and when you have paid. If you have not filed the return, then it is very important. Then you have to pay the advance tax payable. Now, advance tax payable means 100% of the tax, but 100% of tax as per assessee or as per the order, right? So courts have said that advance tax payable means the tax as per assessee, which in his case mostly it will be nil. मैंने रिटर्न नहीं भरा तो मेरे हिसाब से तो टैक्स बनता ही नहीं था. अब मैं एओ ने कह दिया कि साहब ये तो आपका इनकम है और 1 करोड़ का एडिशन कर दिया और टैक्स निकाल दिया से 70-80 lakhs का विद इंटरेस्ट. नाउ मैंने तो रिटर्न भरा ही नहीं, कोई असेसी तो चौकीदार है और उसके केस में 1 करोड़ का एडिशन हो गया. व्हाट दे आर सेइंग इज you need not pay that 70 lakhs which is the demand. You have to pay only the amount as per you, which would be nil, right? For me there is no tax, so you have to pay the tax, advance tax payable, right? In fact, when you file the form number 35, at that time also you have to be very cautious. You select whether return is filed or not. If you have not filed the return, then they will ask whether you have paid the tax on the assessed income, whether you have paid the advance tax. You say not applicable. Practically, we have filed so many appeals, and when you select that not applicable, no defect comes up there. Because as per you, no tax is applicable, right? Some very quick points regarding filing of the appeal. On receipt of the order of the AO, note the date of the order and the demand notice, right? So when the demand notice was received, because from that date you have to file the appeal. You have to list out the additions, make a list of additions so that the grounds are taken up, nothing is missed. Check whether there are any jurisdictional issues, validity issues. If they are there, mark it, take it as a ground. Check if order is appealable, if the appeal lies or not. If there is any interest, etc., which is there, then take a ground of that, like penalty initiation is there. So take a ground that penalty is wrongly initiated. Now, this thing one has to take care of regarding the TDS and loss cases. In very recently, what happened, we were just filing one appeal. There, what happened, the assessee, in fact, accepted that it is his income, right? There was some income, say a salary income was there, and he did not offer it in the return. In the assessment, he accepted that this is my salary income. There were other additions also. While filing the appeal, we in fact did not raise this ground because assessee himself accepted that it is his salary income. But while preparing the submissions later on, we realized that on this salary, TDS was also there. And the AO has not given the credit of that TDS. So that ground we missed out. I'll tell you how to take it later on. But at the time of filing of the appeal, you should see that if any TDS credit has been missed out by the AO, then you take that ground. Or if loss has been ignored, you filed a return with a loss, and the AO wrote in the order assessed nil. It is not nil, it is basically nil assessed, but loss is allowed to be carried forward. So if loss is not allowed to be carried forward, then in such a case, you should be precise while seeing the order and making the grounds of appeal. Prepare a reconciliation of returned income and assessed income so that nothing misses out, and returned tax and assessed tax so that nothing misses out. And if there is an apparent error, then you can also go for 154. Parallelly also you can go for 154, or you can go for 154 singularly without going for an appeal. Then check if the document referred, copy of which is not supplied. If there is something like some statement of third person is recorded behind your back and that copy is not given to you, then you can mention in the statement of facts that this document was not given to us. And without giving it to us, they have in fact made the addition. Apply for the copy of those documents which are not given to you. prepare statement of facts, grounds of appeal. Grounds have to be simple, concise, just a summary of everything. After raising the grounds, make a ground, add, amend, alter, delete the grounds of appeal. Liberty to do that. Alternative pleas may be taken without prejudice. Pay the appropriate fees and don't use special characters, because many places the special characters are not permitted in the income tax portal. So be cautious about it. Now, once you file the appeal, don't stop there. You also have penalty notices. So you apply to the authority for keeping the penalty in abeyance. You request them that kindly keep the penalty proceedings in abeyance till the disposal of appeal by the CIT appeal. In fact, under section 275 1C, it is given there that the appellate authority till the disposal of CIT appeal, there is a limitation which gets extended. So most of the cases, practically, the once you have filed the appeal, the penalty is kept in abeyance. They keep the penalty pending, and only after the CIT appeal order is passed, the penalty proceedings are continued. Then, thirdly, what you have to do? First is filing appeal. Secondly, requesting for keeping the penalty in abeyance. And thirdly, you have to apply for stay of demand. You request the AO that the demand be stayed. If you filed the appeal, that does not mean that the demand is stayed. Right? You have to actually apply separately for keeping the demand stayed. That I will discuss separately. Now, hearing of the appeal. Once you file it, it does not mean that after filing immediately the case will be heard. They will fix a date. I'll explain it how it is happening. Once you file the appeal, then your work is done right now. Then there will be a notice coming from the income tax department, and then you will get an opportunity for hearing. Now, there are two mechanisms. One is central circle cases and international taxation cases. The appeal is physical. You have to go to the department and fight the appeal there before the commissioner appeals. Second is virtual, faceless. In all other cases, it is faceless. So I am addressing both the mechanisms, the mechanism physical as well as the faceless. Now, whatsoever mechanism it is, in the appeal, you have to file basically two documents. Once you file the appeal, your hearing will be done. You will get a notice that the case is fixed on this date. There you have to submit two documents, minimum two documents. One is the evidences, that is called as a paper book, right? I'll just again show you how the paper book is there. A sample I am showing, right? Right. This is how we file it. It is your way because it's a drafting skill. Now, it was a faceless appeal. So before the Honorable National Faceless Appeal Center, Delhi, and paper book it is written in the matter of whatsoever name. Then all these documents, paper book has to be indexed. So this is the index of the paper book. It has to have page number. It has to have all the documents which we want to rely on. So all these documents, the return of income, the notices, our reply, then further notices, replies, the documents, whatever we are relying on. So all these documents which AO has relied or which we are relying. So all these documents which need to be taken on record, I have given, and it is to be signed by the appellant. So just a brief index I am showing you how the paper book is filed, right? So that is the paper book. And the second document is a written submission. So now the art of brevity ends and now the art of detailing comes. The grounds were brief. Now your written submissions are elaborate. You explain your case at length. You narrate the entire facts ground-wise, right? Ground-wise. Ground number one, this is the facts. This is our submission. Ground number two, this is the facts. This is our submission. So initially, if you make any written submission, at the first you will make the background facts. The assessee filed the return, the AO made the addition, and against this we are in appeal. These are the background facts basically at length. I am just narrating it very briefly. Then you take it ground wise. Ground number one, validity. you first write the undisputed facts. Facts are of two types: disputed and undisputed. Those facts which both of the parties are accepting are undisputed. So there will be no dispute on that. So narrate that facts. And while again, the drafting skills, the skills of a lawyer, an advocate, or a CA comes here, professional skill comes here, that the facts have to be neutral but skewed towards you. You are narrating it in this way that it shows that the officer did wrong. Although it should seem somewhere to be neutral, but it should point out that the officer did something wrong. And that is the skill. That is something you develop with time and reading a lot of documents. So undisputed facts have to be narrated. AO's argument, what was the basis of addition? AO's argument, what is our submission? And then case laws. The case laws AO relied and you say that they are wrongly applied. So these are basically ground wise. For each and every ground, you will narrate what are the facts, what is the basis of AO, our submissions, factual and legal, the case laws we rely, and the case laws which AO has applied. Then your argument ground wise. Okay. I'm now argument, I mean pleading. You go to the office of Commissioner Appeal and you argue there, okay, physically. Or if they give you VC, in that VC you are doing the argument. There is an official bias, as I said, that the authority who is hearing the appeal is also a person who is the officer of income tax department. So there is an official bias. You should not expect that justice would immediately be done, okay, because there is a possibility that he may be biased. I am not saying he is biased. He has an official bias. Then reply to the query raised by the CIT appeal. While arguing, he may put some point. तो ऐसा नहीं हम तो घर से सोच के गए थे और बस टेप रिकॉर्डर वहां ऑन कर दिया अपना, वो बोल रहे हैं. उनने हमको बोला कि साहब अच्छा ये बता दो आप डॉक्यूमेंट. हमने कहा हम नहीं बताएंगे, पहले आप हमारी सुनो. It's not like that. While arguing, if they have a query, then you try to address that, explain it to them, right? So that is there. So therefore, you have to be very precise. You have to be perfect on the facts and law, because what happens is you went with a mindset and they have asked something from the blue. Then you have to keep that impromptu. Immediately, you have to understand that query and reply to it immediately. So that is the skill of advocacy, skill of the professional skill we are trying to discuss. It's an art. It develops with time. Impromptu develops with time. Sometimes the officer may say that this assessee, he has done wrong. So don't get provoked by such comments and such irrelevant queries sometimes which may come up. Then avoid unnecessary arguments, because if you will argue and altercate, unnecessary dispute, loud arguments if you do, so they may be annoyed, and when the judges are annoyed, they always decide against you, right? So don't annoy them. Make special efforts in emphasizing as to how AO was wrong. That is our object. We want to prove that what he did was wrong, and legally, factually, the addition should not have been made. The tax is wrongly, right, levied. And one should be thorough on facts and law. I said immediately they may ask anything, right? One thing which is very important, very fine point, what happens is when you file an appeal, or because in appeal there had to be 3 parties. So the law is made in such a way that once you file an appeal, a notice is also given to the AO. Right? The Commissioner Appeal sends a copy of the appeal memo to the AO, and he asks him whether you want to appear before CIT appeal. There is a form, ITNS, Income Tax Non-Statutory Form is there, form number 51, in which the CIT appeal sends that to the AO, that yes, if you want to appear before the CIT appeal. Practically, I have never seen in any case that the AO comes up and appears before the CIT appeal. But yes, that mechanism is there, and in some special cases they may come up. Now, whatever you are putting up in appeal, right? It's a story. It's a story. I mean, it may be correct or incorrect. I'm not going into it, but it has to be a story. That story should be logical. People always like to hear logical stories. So the judges, the commissioner appeals would also be interested in hearing something which is logical, which is backed by some evidence. Right? There has to be some document, something. See, you say, I have done that expenditure. That's it. So there has to be some bills, some evidences. Then if you are asking for some cross examination, so that application should be there that I want to cross examine it. Like say if they say that the creditor has denied it, so you should ask for that cross examination, that he has turned hostile, he is telling wrong, so I want to cross examine, right? Then if it is a reassessment case, then you can ask for the reasons or 148AB notices, whatever. Never concede, never say that, yes, that is my personal experience. Never concede, because concede means you agree to it, that I did a mistake. That should be avoided. In rare cases only that should be considered, when there is no chance at all. Nothing is left out and you have to pay taxes. Then sometimes it happens that you change the stand. Before the AO, you were taking a different stand. Before CIT appeal, now you take a different stand. Before the AO, you were saying this bank account does not belong to me. Now, before the CIT appeal, suddenly you remember, oh, this account, it was my account. And you change the stand that this account was opened by my bhaiya, and now he was operating it. So in such a case, it's very difficult to prove it. And try to be इसलिए कहते हैं, they say that trial is a very important stage. When you are going before the AO, the facts which are explained are very important. At that stage itself, you should be precise on explaining the facts, right? Then in the physical proceedings, there is also note sheet, who has appeared, what he has argued. So that is there. So note sheet is a mirror. Whenever you go there and you always sign it, you explain and they note it, whatever has happened. This person appeared, he explained this, like that. Powers to do inquiry. CIT appeal has co-terminus powers. He has the powers to do inquiry himself. If he thinks that this point needs to be examined, he can do it himself, or he can also call a report from the AO. That is called as a remand report. So that is also there. One small thing which is there regarding appeal is that the high demand cases, they have to be taken out of turn. Generally, the appeals are heard seriatim, first in first serve. That is the basis. So generally, that is the system, first come first serve basis. But there is a CBDT circular recently, it has come out, and they have said that high demand cases have to be taken out of turn. High demand means more than 1 crore demand. Out of turn, they will be heard early. And similarly, cases of senior citizens and very senior citizens, they will be taken up out of turn. Interestingly, this circular also points out that it is a priority case, a VIP case, or a PMO reference case, then that will also be taken out of turn. So this, I find it to be weird in its own sense, right? Some VIP cases there, justice is equal for all. So anyways, that instruction is there. Now, procedure for hearing, further point which I may point out, in the faceless mechanism, what happens when you file the appeal? Now, this will happen in most of the cases, because most of the appeals are faceless. Once you file an appeal, they enable the communication. There is one notice which will come up, which I see that if I file an appeal, say 10th of June, if I file an appeal, the notice will come, enablement of communication, on 1st of July. They will enable the communication. They will open the window. At that, you can make the submissions, file the paper book. So that window is open. No date is fixed. It's just the window is open now. You can make the communication to them. Say you want to apply for early hearing, for stay of demand, for paper book you want to file, anything you want, the communication is open, right? Then after some time, they will issue a notice. You have to file the submissions. You can take adjournment also, and maximum 15 days adjournment is given. But again, you can take adjournment. And hearing notices, in fact, practically you have to keep logging in and see that hearing notice has come or not, because how you will know? There is no physical notice now. So what happens is you file the appeal. Every 5 days, 7 days, you have to take the help of your assistant or article, and he will log in. One of the softwares like that. So there you can create the database for all your clients. And if you have multiple clients, then it is okay. But if you have single client who is in appeal, it's tedious thing to do that. That every time you have to log in and check whether a fresh notice has come up or not. And that many times, a lot of cases I have seen that the notices are missed out. They issue a notice, you don't see it, and the orders are ex parte, right? They say that you are not interested in your appeal, and therefore they dismiss the appeal. So that also happens. So be careful. If you have filed the appeal, be careful to also contest it. Now, one more point I may point out, that while framing the written submission, you have to always request for a VC. You make a request that in case of any query, the a virtual hearing may be granted, so that we may explain our case at length. Right? Always make this prayer that a virtual hearing may be granted in the written submission, so that if they grant it, it is well and good. If they don't grant it, it gives you a pleading, a way that they have not given us a fair opportunity. Right? In the faceless scheme, they have, you can ask for that, right? Now, say if there is a ground of appeal and you miss to take that ground of appeal. Now, can you raise it? While filing the appeal, you did not take that ground of appeal, but while preparing the case, you realize that this ground should have been taken. Like the case I was saying, TDS was deducted and the AO did not grant it. At the time of filing the appeal, we forgot to take that ground. But later on, we realized that this ground ought to have been taken. So, can we raise that ground of appeal now after filing the appeal? The answer is yes. There are a lot of judgments. One of the very landmark cases, National Thermal Power Company, 229 ITR 383. And there are so many other cases like Jute Corporation, and I've also quoted some. So they say a legal ground can be taken, which goes to the root of the matter, and no further inquiry on facts is required. Three things: legal ground, which goes to the root of the matter, which is basic to the issue, and thirdly, no inquiry on facts is required. If these conditions are satisfied, then such a ground can be raised later on also. So practically what you will have to do is, you will have to make a separate application for admission of additional grounds. That is the application you will have to make. There you will have to request that we want to take this as additional grounds, which is a legal ground and goes to the root of the matter, like that. If the appellate authority is satisfied, he may grant you, he may allow that ground to be taken. Then only you will be able to argue on that ground. Otherwise, you will not be able to argue on that ground. Now, when you take a legal ground, such a ground can even be that which is not in the return. Say in the return, you forgot to claim a deduction under section 80C, for example, or say a legal deduction which is there, a rebate you forgot to claim. Now that can be raised now, right? This judgment I have relied on is Prithvi Brokers, Bombay High Court and other, where they have said that even those issues which were not in the return, that claim also you can make by filing then additional ground. Then there is another thing which is called as a fresh evidence, additional evidence. Now, I said the trial is a very important proceedings. The assessment is very important proceedings. And the document which you have given to the AO can only be given to CIT appeal. Appeal is a review by higher authority. So review can be only on same facts. If that document was not given to the AO, he had no opportunity to examine that document. And therefore, that document cannot be placed before CIT appeal. This is very important. People miss it out. So therefore, if any document, a fresh document you want to file, which was not before AO, then in that case, generally that is not permissible. It is permissible as per Rule 46A of income tax rules, only in some limited cases. 3 cases are there. AO did not call for that document. He called, but you could not give it. At that time, it was not with you. He called, you gave, but he did not take it on record. He did not call. He called, but at that time, you could not give. And thirdly, he called, you gave that document, but he did not take it on record. In these 3 cases, you can file a fresh document. But again, what you will have to do is you have to make a separate application. Anything you have to do, a separate application is required. Application for admission of additional evidence. Like there it was application for admission of additional ground. So if you are filing additional evidence, then such an application is to be given. The commissioner appeal may, right, he may give a thought that whether to admit it or not. If he refuses to admit it, then that document he will not consider. If he admits it, then he will consider. But again, what he will do is basically he will call for a remand report, because AO did not have the opportunity to examine that document. So in such a case, AO will do what? AO will basically call for a remand report. He will, the commissioner appeal will send this document to the AO, and the AO will then examine it. The commissioner appeal will send this document to the AO. AO will examine it. In fact, you can also appear before the AO. You go to the AO. AO will examine that additional evidence and give a remand report to the commissioner. He will give an inquiry report, you can say, a remand report to the commissioner. That inquiry report copy will also be given to you. You can further give your comments on that. That is called as a rejoinder. So you can file a rejoinder against that. You can say that in the remand report, he has mentioned this, which is incorrect. So that is a remand proceedings. In faceless also, this happens, that they call for a remand report, a report from the AO. Now, once the hearing is done, it may happen on one day or on multiple hearings. Once it is done, then what will happen is, then the appellate authority will pass an order. The commissioner appeal will pass an order. Now, how that order is to be done, right? In fact, after the hearings are completed, once the hearings are done, the time limit for passing the order is 15 days. After the last hearing, within 15 days, the commissioner appeal will have to pass the order. So that is the time limit. That is a board circular. And sometimes what happens is, if they don't pass the order within 15 days, they refix the case. So many a times people are sometimes annoyed. सर वो फेसलेस हियरिंग है और हमने सारा सबमिशन दे दिया और 2 महीने बाद फिर उनका नोटिस आ गया. It happened why? Because he did not pass the order within 15 days. So he cannot pass the order now. So in such a case, he refixes the case. You make the submission again. He will pass the order. And if he is unable to pass the order again, he will refix the case. And then you make the submissions. This is what happens in many cases. The powers while passing the order, what CIT appeal can do? The powers of CIT appeal are wide. They have given the widest amplitude, what he can do. It is written, section 251, it says, he can confirm, reduce, enhance, or annul the assessment. He can quash the assessment. He can say assessment itself is void ab initio. Confirm, reduce, enhance. He can also increase, right? Recently, last year, CIT appeal has also been given a power to set aside the case. He can say, okay, the case goes back to AO again appear before the AO and fresh assessment be done. So he has a power to set aside the case to the AO. But that can be done only in best judgment assessment case, 144 case, right? I was just preparing for this seminar and I read this section again. Every time you read it and you find something new coming out. So I just read it today morning and I noticed that appeal is done by commissioner as well as joint commissioner. So in the appeal by commissioner, it is mentioned that he has a power of set aside. But in the appeal by joint commissioner appeals, it is not mentioned that he can set aside the case. So I think sometimes you can argue that he has no power of set aside. That just came out while I was reading it for the seminar, right? And other than assessment, the CIT appeal has all powers as he thinks fit. Whatever he likes, he can do, right? Can CIT appeal change the basis for addition? Like the AO made the addition saying that it is under section 40A3, cash payment exceeding 10,000. And CIT appeal says, no, cash payment is not there, but it is a related party payment and therefore it is unreasonable and disallowed. Can he do it? Yes, he can do it. But in such a case, it is always advisable that he gives a notice before doing so, an opportunity. Now, CIT appeal has a power of set aside, and here it is just a latest judgment I passed in May, that where CIT assessment was reopened in case of assessee under section 147, and best judgment was done, and AO disallowed the referral fees paid to doctors. Commissioner appeal, instead of summarily setting aside the matter to the file of AO, ought to have called for specific grounds based details on which validity of jurisdiction was assumed. So instead of just setting it aside, he should have seen that some validity issues were also raised, that the assessment is invalid. So that he should have decided first. This is one judgment, Hyderabad Tribunal. Simply setting it aside, that is not advisable, right? Then he can do the enhancement. CIT appeal has a power of enhancement. Madam, how much time I have? Shall I continue?
Sir, now we have the question answer. So after yours finishing, we will take the question answer.
Okay, I'll just take 5 minutes and conclude.
Yeah, no problem.
Right.
No problem.
Just 5 minutes. Now, the CIT appeal has also a power of enhancement. But this enhancement, before doing the enhancement, he has to give an opportunity of being heard. He has to issue an enhancement notice. Assessee has to be given an opportunity, and then only he can do the enhancement. And there is one very old case, Shapurji, Palonji, Mistry, where it is said that enhancement cannot be on any issue. It should not be a second assessment, right? He cannot do enhancement or taking any point. Enhancement can be done only on those points which are subject matter of assessment, right? Those points which are coming from the assessment only, that only. CIT appeal can give directions. He can say, okay, this addition should be made in this way, or this point should be inquired, right? He set aside is something different. Set aside is basically sending the case for fresh assessment. But here, directions is a specific direction to AO that you examine this and do this. So yes, CIT appeal has a power to give directions, but that direction should be for those years which are in appeal, or for that assessee which are in appeal. ऐसा नहीं हो कि राम का केस चल रहा है, उन्होंने कहा कि शाम के केस में आप टैक्स ले लो. So that has to be for same assessee which is in appeal and for the same year which is in appeal. This circular, this one CBDT letter came out actually in 2018. It was a very unfortunate letter which came out, and it was criticized by the courts. It was also challenged before the courts. What the CIT appeal, what they said is in this letter to the CIT appeal, that you follow the board instructions, you follow whatever is there in the favor of revenue. Somewhere that was the intention behind it, that pass orders which are in the favor of the revenue, right? Somewhere that was the intention. So that was highly criticized, and in fact, the courts took cognizance of it and they said such a circular is not valid. The CIT appeal is an independent authority and he may pass any order whatever he thinks fit, right? Can CIT appeal dismiss the case for non-appearance, like you sought adjournment or you did not appear, and CIT appeal says no, you are not interested in your case, so the appeal is dismissed. There are various cases which basically they quote. One is BN Bhattachari. It's a very old case, and they always quote this judgment to Koji Rao, and they say that you are not interested. It is an ex parte order. For non-appearance, we are dismissing the appeal without deciding it on merits. So courts have time and again said that CIT appeal has to decide the appeal on merits. He cannot merely dismiss it for non-appearance. He has to decide it on merits. If such an order is there, ex parte order is there, it is better to go to tribunal challenging that this is an ex parte order, and it may be remanded back again for fresh consideration by the CIT appeal. One small point is there. I'll quickly refer to it because time is not permitting me to go into detail of it. Stay of demand. What happens is, once you file an appeal, it does not mean that the demand is automatically stayed. And one more thing I may point out, there is a misconception that some people I have heard saying that to file an appeal, you have to pay 20% of the demand. No. To file an appeal, you have to pay only challan, which is 250 rupees to 1000 rupees, which I just pointed out in the beginning. For filing the appeal, a challan is to be paid. But the demand remains. The AO can recover the demand. Okay? Merely by filing the appeal, it does not mean that the demand is stayed. So you have to file a separate application for stay of demand, which may be filed to AO or CIT appeal. There is a board instruction, very popular board instruction, which is misread by some people, which says that once you apply for a stay of demand, if you pay 20% of the demand, then the stay should be granted as a routine. They may ask a lower figure or a higher figure, but generally, in the practical sense, if you pay 20% of the demand gets stayed. Rest of the 80% gets stayed. That is the board instruction. So in some cases, exceptional cases, you can say that I want to pay a lesser amount or a higher amount, whatsoever. Before I conclude, this is a very important Gujarat High Court judgment which has recently come out. I think somewhere in March 2025, very recently. I've just taken a clip, screenshot of that. Here, what happened is the appeal was pending since long, and the income tax department was pressing for recovery of demand. They were saying, you have not paid the demand. Assessee said that, sir, I have filed the appeal. I have made the return submission. I have made the arguments. I have made everything. I have filed the paper book. And they are not deciding it. Appeals are pending. Lakhs of appeals are pending. That is how I started my seminar today, that 5 lakh appeals are pending. So many appeals are pending. They are not deciding it for 4 or 5 years, and they are pressing for demand. So the High Court took cognizance, and they said that once the appeal are long pending, the department cannot insist on recovery of demand, because it is the fault of the income tax department. The system is at fault, and now you are pressing for recovery of demand. That is not permissible. So it was a very interesting order which is there, and we are always quoting it after that judgment in March, that what happens is, in every appeal, in every recovery letter, we are writing that we have filed the appeal, it is long pending, we have made the submissions, and they are not deciding. So as per Gujarat High Court, the demand cannot be recovered. The demand was stayed in that case. Once you get the CIT appeal order, you read it carefully. The same process is there. You see what are the errors, and you can file appeal to ITAT. If it is a mistake apparent on record, you go for rectification. Okay, and you can also apply to AO for appeal effect. What happens is, if CIT appeal has given some relief or he has not given some relief, there is a concept of appeal effect. You go to AO and request that based on that, give us an appeal effect. One very interesting quote of Aristotle is that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an art, but a habit. So try to do it regularly, right? That is there. I'll end my discussion with one short poem which is there. One short जो अपील का प्रोविजन है, वो बायस्ड है, मतलब इट इज वन साइडेड प्रोविजन, और उन्हीं के डिपार्टमेंट में वहीं अपील चल रही है। तो मैं आई वाज जस्ट रीडिंग एंड आई थॉट दैट इट इज द प्रॉपर थिंग व्हिच कैन बी कोटेड। इट सेज, अब सब कुछ बताया जाए तो अच्छा रहेगा। अब सब कुछ बताया जाए तो अच्छा रहेगा। अब कुछ ना छिपाया जाए तो अच्छा रहेगा। अदालत तेरे मोहल्ले में लग रही है तो कोई गम नहीं। इनकम टैक्स में लग रही है ना अदालत। अदालत तेरे मोहल्ले में लग रही है तो कोई गम नहीं। गवाह मेरे भी बुलाया जाए तो अच्छा रहेगा। So with these words, I just close my discussion. I am so thankful to all of you. So thankful to the Direct Tax Committee and the moderator. Thank you very much. If there are any queries whatsoever, I am available. I'll try to address all the queries. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
madam.
sir. Sir, we have so many questions. So due to the time availability, I am taking the some questions. So first we received from the Jalpesh sir from the Rajkot. He
Yes.
filed the appeal on the statement of the fact and ground of appeal. And later on in notice under section 250, so can he amend the ground of appeal? He just want to know that.
You filed the appeal and based on the statement of facts and grounds of appeal. Then what happened?
Yes. Later on in response of notice under section 250, can he amend the ground of appeal?
Yes, you can see amendment in the ground can be of two types. One is you are just revising that ground, the wordings you are changing, that you can do. And secondly, you are raising an additional ground. If you are raising an additional ground, then as we discussed, that you have to make a separate application for the additional grounds, and they may permit or they may not permit the raising of that additional ground. So it can be of two types like this.
We have the Majhar from the Lucknow. He want to know that against the order passed by AO in case of non-resident individual, whether the appeal before the CIT appeal would be physical or faceless?
If it is NRI, I think it would be by International Taxation Board. So the assessment also would have been done physically. So appeal would be physical rather. The appeal has to be filed online, but the case would go on in the income tax department. You will have to appear there. I don't know, you are from which circle? I think Ahmedabad would be the proper circle. You said Surat, I think. So Ahmedabad circle, International Taxation Board would go.
Sir Adarsh Sharma from the Pune, he want to know that in maximum case, the AO ignored the lapse of procedure from his end, like issued notice 148 without issuing notice order under section 148A. And those cases I mentioned this lapse in each submission and AO ignore it and proceed with the assessment. Now in that appeal is filed, they ignore lapse of procedure as well. What to do in such cases?
See, if there is a default of natural justice, then there is a jurisdiction, but there is a improper exercise of jurisdiction. The AO could have done that 147. The only thing is he did not give you a proper opportunity. So it is better to go in appeal and raise this issue, and the appellate authority will then give you a proper opportunity. There is alternate way that if it is a complete absence of natural justice, then you can also go to a writ court, go to the High Court under Article 226 and raise it there. In many cases, like in 148A, you said that he did not give you any opportunity. So against 148 AD orders, a lot of judgments are there that people go to the High Court, and the High Court quashes that earlier 148 AD order, and they say that it may be passed again after considering the submission of the SSC, after giving opportunity. So you can go in appeal, but in a very rare case, you can go to a writ court also.
So next question from the Suraj Chaudhary, Kolkata. He want to know what is the procedure in faceless appeal for getting stay of demand and even stay from paying minimum 20% of the asset tax.
See, as we discussed briefly, that you can apply to AO for stay of demand, or you can apply to CIT appeal. Both things are there. Now, when you apply to the AO, it is the jurisdictional AO, because the demand, although it is a faceless case, but it goes to the jurisdictional AO. The recovery is done by the jurisdictional AO. So you apply to the jurisdictional AO and he will grant you a stay of demand. Practically, what he will say is pay 20%. But your stay application has to be that these are the special circumstances and therefore we are unable to pay the 20%. So that would be the practical case. And if he rejects that application, you will have to file a writ petition, because that is again not appealable. Then the second way is that you apply to CIT appeal. In a faceless mechanism, although you will apply to the CIT appeal, because only on the portal you will be able to apply. So you will apply to the CIT appeal, but they don't take cognizance. I have never seen in a faceless mechanism, we filed the application, but they did not do anything out of it. So it's better to go for a jurisdictional AO, explain him the case. If he says, okay, pay 20%, pay 10% or pay some installment, and if it suits you, then it is well and good. Otherwise, it is a writable order. You go in a writ. People do what is that they go to the commissioner also and request them, because the stay order which is been passed, rejecting the stay also. So the order which is passed for stay of demand, that is subject to 264. So they go to the commissioner and request him that, sir, the AO has not given us stay, so kindly give us stay. And if he rejects, then they go for a writ. That is also a part of the mechanism you can do.
Sir, one member from the Vasai branch want to know that they can file the appeal for the less refund received because of the denial of 87 rebate in short-term capital gain.
Yes, people are filing the appeal, and I have seen appeals are getting disposed of very quickly in such cases, because the ruling is set out. It is clear. Bombay High Court has come. So I think you should definitely file an appeal.
So one person from the Virar area, he have the query that he give the written submission against the notice under section 252 CIT 4 times. Now got the fifth notice saying that please furnish reply in support of your ground of appeal with supporting evidence, if any, which is yet to be submitted, so that appeal filed by you may be decided. This is the final opportunities offered to you. We really don't know what exactly CIT needs. Again, we are resubmitting same written submission along with the same supporting documents, which are completely fine. And in other years, we got favorable order on the same matter and same assessing. Can you highlight how to explain our matter and get the order done?
See, what happens is this, as I said, that he has 15 days for passing the order. And if he does not pass the order within 15 days, he is not seized of the matter. He becomes functious officio in that faceless mechanism. So the only option with him is again issue a notice. So he's actually helpless, and he issued the notice again. Is in cases where we filed the submission, and if the notice comes up again, what we do is basically we don't file it again. We write to the CIT appeal saying that we have already filed the submission on the earlier date. Its acknowledgement is enclosed. Kindly consider that. And we also request at that time that kindly also give us a virtual hearing. In that reply, we also write that. That is what we do. And if you have a favorable order of earlier years of the same assessee, so that also you should highlight in your written submission that, sir, in identical case, in the case of the same assessee, this issue is already decided. Kindly consider that order and decide this issue again. Sometimes, as I said, that there is an official bias. So if they see that everything is coming in your favor, so it again gets fixed up. I mean, we are talking in a practical sense, so that happens sometimes.
The one member from the Pune want to ask that in case of senior citizen, they filed the appeal with delay, and the CIT appeal rejected this appeal. So he want to know it should be rectification or again ITAT.
It has to be appeal to ITT, because appeal was filed with a delay. That order of CIT appeal is not a mistake apparent on record. There is no mistake apparent. It's his discretion he has used. The discretion is whether to admit it or not. So once he has used his discretion, it is only the higher forum which can review it. It's not a rectifiable order. So appeal has to be filed to ITAT. In that appeal, you take a ground specifically that the learned CIT appeal erred in dismissing the appeal and not condoning the delay. That ground should be taken.
So one query from the Shripal from the Mumbai. Appeal was not filed against the original assessment order, but was filed against the rectification order passed by the same EO. But CIT appeal refused to grant hearing and restricted his demand to rectification order passed by AO. Is he right? Assessee again filed appeal against the original order, but with the delay, which is not yet ripe for hearing. AO is now under tension.
Ma'am, please come again. I just missed that entire chain of events.
Actually, sir, appeal is filed against the rectification of the order.
Okay.
So, AO is denied. Appeal person is denying that this is we can't take on. So, appeal was not filed against the original assessment order. So, he want that SSC again file the appeal against the original order, but with delay, which is not yet ripe for hearing. SSC is now under tension. They want to know that what the solution of that.
Yes. See, rectification proceedings are a narrow proceedings. The scope of rectification is limited to a mistake apparent on record. So I generally don't recommend a rectification application in a routine manner. It is to be in a case where there is a clear-cut glaring mistake on the record. So in a case where you have filed a rectification, because you have already filed it, I'll not go into the debate. You have filed a rectification, he denied it, you filed an appeal. Now what happens is you went in a wrong forum. So it's a good ground for condonation of delay. You were not, you can say, sleeping in slumbers and not at all doing anything. The assessee was vigilant. He was advised to go for a rectification. It was a wrong advice he got. So it's a good ground for condonation of delay. Definitely the appeal can be filed. The reason for condonation precisely should be explained is that we wrongly applied for a rectification. And yes, I hope that the delay would be condoned in such a case.
Sir, the member are asking for the PPT also. So for the update of all the member, PPT will be shared by the email ID to each and everyone.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if any query still, if any question, then you can put on the email, can contact to the Ashish sir also, as PPT have the mobile number and email ID also. So with this, thank you so much, sir, for giving your valuable time in the working day. And your the PPT presentation was really very nice. And the way you explained, it's really very good. We have the more than 1,600 participation in the webinar. So really very, very interactive and very easily manner you have described all PPT. So thank you so much, sir, on behalf of the Direct Tax Committee of ICI and the chairperson of the Vasai branch. Really very thankful for giving your valuable time. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.